Well, if you are a frustrated and angry Norwich City fan, then welcome along. We've got four very, very frustrated City fans to discuss 20 minutes of Norwich City chat. Welcome to Where Canaries Walk. We are, of course, talking about the Blackburn view, and we're looking through some social media takes, including this one by Phil. It says the ref was absolutely dire, but we can only blame ourselves for not winning. Woeful game management yet again. We will never learn, and that's what we're talking about now. Is it time to forget the playoffs, given what we've been watching in a couple of weeks, and the refereeing standards? Are Norwich City the most hard done to team in the Championship? Who gets our February Player of the Month? We've got our full panel of four back here to pick out the players of February that deserve some flowers. And who do we want to see in the playoff final? Any one of about 14 teams could be there in May, and we're getting our Norwich team pick out who they want to see as their opponents. We've got Jacob, Oliver, Matty, and Killian back with us, and thank you very much for joining us. Right, let's get straight into it then, Jacob. Let's talk about referees. First of all, politely, without swearing, how do you judge the referee's performance at Ewood Park?
That was terrible, wasn't it? For both teams, actually, because there was a penalty call near the end. But it was Dominic Hyam in the first half. What he did to Angus Gunn was just terrible. How do you not see that? How do you not give that? And then the offside at the end, I'm not quite sure if it was offside or not. From what I've seen, it should be an offside. But then again, defensively, we were switched off. But the standard of refereeing and officiating in the Championship does need to improve, but not bring VAR in, because we do not want to kill the beautiful game, don't we?
Well, that's where I was going to now, because Lee Doherty is a an experienced referee. Oliver, he's not, he's been doing it for most of the season. So I mean, he's allowed a bad game, but VAR would have caught that, wouldn't it? That elbow, and would have sent Hyam off, and then you win the game probably.
Yeah, I mean, you'd hope that like such an experienced referee would see something so obvious, but I mean, obviously for situations like that, I wouldn't mind VAR for the Championship, because I feel like there's been a few times this season where we've been a bit hard done by. But saying that, that Signs goal against Derby where the ball was miles out of play, things like that wouldn't have happened. So it's kind of a sticky one, but yeah, it's ridiculous how the ref didn't see such a blatant, elbow in the face.
Killian, you travel a lot. You're in there in the terraces. Do you think Norwich are just, I don't know, referees are not scared of Norwich? I don't know. Does the manager need to come out more and say more about referees? Do the players need to appeal more? What's going on? Are you too nice?
No, I think, to be honest with you, I think the refereeing is really poor. I think Johannes has taken the right approach, which is not to criticise them one way or the other. I think just by not saying anything says enough. And he does sort of rib the journalists a little bit about them making whatever comments they want to make. That's his method of criticising referees. But I mean, it is poor. And I thought that goal was offside, but again, I thought they should have had a penalty. So I don't think overall it would have impacted the outcome. I do think some players, and it's not just Norwich players, I think some players do go down quite easily. So I think it can be difficult for a referee to judge whether something has happened or not. But I think I'd also equally blame linesmen. I mean, they're not watching the game. Yeah. There's been a lot of offside calls missed, and that elbow should have been picked up by the linesman if the ref didn't pick it up.
Yeah. Okay. Right, we'll leave the referee chat there. Matty, you've only actually got yourselves to blame, though, haven't you, here a little bit? Because what have we got? 2.5 minutes of the game left. You're leading 1-0. There's an opportunity, I think, for Saints to run the ball to the corner, but you continue to attack, and then, well, the rest is history. And as so many tweets say this week, that's my wrong one. Sorry, I'll do that in a minute. Far too many missed opportunities in recent weeks. Appalling game management and silly mistakes costing us in a number of games. And this word "game management" comes up, and it's not on the manager, is it? That's on the players, just to use a bit more nouns.
Yeah, it's partially on. I'm not blaming the manager. It's partially on the manager. I think it's one of them things that the Hoftorp and Glenn Riddleston have got to do as a coaching pair with some of the younger players. Maybe we have got a young squad, but yeah, there's no excuse. There's no excusing it. Saints decision making. He's not the oldest of players, but he knows better. He's selfishly trying to take players on in a silly part of the pitch, in a dangerous part of the pitch, in terms of losing the ball and then the transition. So. Yeah, stupid really. Should have seen the game out, should have been clever. And I think it kind of epitomises the season really, kind of sort of lots of needy moments and not quite either getting the rub of the green with the officiating, but also not doing enough ourselves to justify 3 points.
Yeah, cheers for that, Matty. Let's look at some more. Nathan says, I am effing sick of us throwing away wins and being pathetic in the final third. We should have been 2 or 3 up in the first half. It is so frustrating. And Jacob, there's lots of tweets saying, let's stop talking about the playoffs. We're not getting them. We're finishing 11th, 10th, 9th at the highest. It isn't happening. Are you more resigned to that now, given what we've seen in recent games of just throwing games away?
Yeah, I've pretty much accepted the fact we're not going up. We're not getting playoffs. It's a transition season, like we always hear, and we just got to adapt now. We just got to get what we can out of the last few games, and then focus on next season. Hopefully, we keep most of our players. But the results that we've been seeing recently just show that we do not deserve playoffs. I think Derby, Preston, Blackburn, they all show that we do not deserve playoffs. We do not match the other teams in there. Like put us in a game against West Brom at home or away, we'd lose. Definitely would lose. So playoffs are off the cards now.
Okay. Oliver, do you agree? If you've given up on finishing 6th?
Absolutely not. I think we should still definitely aim for playoffs. I think, we need to set our standards. I think we are good enough. We have the players. I mean, I look at teams around us, and I don't think like Coventry, for example. I'm surprised how they're like 5 points above us. So, we're definitely still in there. I truly believe that just in the Championship, I think if you can find 3, 4, 5 have like good games, then I think you can just be right in there.
Yeah, and to say you've got 2 of the league leading goal scorers and are going to finish not in the top 6 is going to be madness, isn't it? As we think we've spoken about before. Killian, this one says, Andrew says, we are an average team who can't decide whether to be in the top 6 or to flirt with the top 6. What's your view on whether playoffs now are over?
To be honest, if you look at last year, we had the same situation. We had numerous chances to get into the top 6, and we didn't until fairly late. And personally, I prefer to come in late to the top 6. I do think we've a chance. Obviously, next 2 home matches will tell a lot. But I would expect a very different team, a resolute team next week, next Friday.
Okay.
I do think it's going to be a different conversation every week. Are we in? Are we out? It's going to be very much dependent on the previous results, unfortunately.
We're going to look forward to having it with you every single week. I still think it's doable, isn't it? I'll be on. Let's be honest. There's some very average sides in and around you, isn't there? And we say this to all the Bristol City. They're hot and cold. Coventry are good at the moment, but haven't been. Blackburn are fading. Watford are in and out. So, Matt, it's not like there's one spot and there's one team running away with it, is there?
No, I think that top 4 is pretty much done, and then anyone else after that is fair game. To echo Oliver's point, I think we've got good enough players. I trust in the manager. I'm not sure I want us to get in the playoffs, but that might sound daft. But at the same time, it'd be nice to be another little extension of the season, something exciting to push towards, isn't it? And you give me 2-3 games to go, and there's a chance we're in there, then I'm right up for it, Anna. So I think in terms of like our running and our fixtures, Killian just mentioned some of the the games that are coming up Friday night, and then the Friday night after that should be pivotal against Bristol. But there's a fairly favourable running, I think, which suits us. We've had some tough games first half of the season, but this running it makes the playoffs definitely doable.
Okay, so I'm going to manifest it now. On the final day of the season, Coventry play Middlesbrough and Norwich play Cardiff at home, and I'm going to say that it's going to be on them 2 games. Norwich have to beat Cardiff to get in there, and then it's between Coventry and Borough. There you go. And you're going to get in over Borough, Matty. That will please you, won't it?
Take that every day of the week, twice on a Sunday. Thank you very much.
Right.
Matty, we need to knock Middlesbrough out of
it.
Yeah. That's our last away game as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So, yeah. So
right. Last week we praised Sorensen. We shouldn't have done that because guess what came on Twitter this week? Yes, rubbish. Slovenian and Sorensen. Absolutely terrible today. I can't keep up, Jacob. Sorensen, tell us about him.
He's hit and miss, really. 1 week you see a good performance. Second week you just forget he's there. But yeah, I don't think he's played too well recently. Although obviously we've seen against Stoke, I think he was unreal, just showing what he was. And then I think we signed him in 2020 for our promotion season. He was all right, and then in the Prem he kind of fell off. Championship then scored against Millwall, got a bit of praise, and then just keeps going in and out of the team. Injuries as well has kind of ruined him, but he's the type of player that I like seeing doing well, but you just can't keep it up every week.
Okay, fair enough. Right then, we are now looking, of course, ahead to the Oxford game, and it's the reverse of the opening day of the season when everyone was expecting Oliver Norwich would turn up at the Kassam. It's a small ground, little team Oxford, and everyone expected Norwich to blow them away. And actually, you left there with a little bit of embarrassment, didn't you? Is it time for revenge this Friday night?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of blocked out that Oxford game from my memory, to be honest. I was trying not to remember it because that's how bad it was. But I mean, look, I'm very confident that we will pick up 3 points against them. I mean, I'm not too sure how they've done the rest of the season. I think they're hanging in there. So, I mean, yeah, it should be a good game. I think we can probably put 4 past them, if I'm being honest. But I don't want to be too over optimistic either.
Well, you're playing one of the worst form teams in the league at the moment, Killian, at home on a Friday night under the lights. This can't go wrong, can it?
I don't know. We haven't much form on a Friday night to test. We were doing well at midday kickoffs. Yeah, no, I think we'll put a few past them. I can't see us making the same mistake twice with them. This
was the team, Matty, that started that game back in that warm October sunshine. When you look at that now, do you understand why you lost?
Oh, 100%, yeah. Fastnack, Gibbs, Hanley, there's weaknesses in every part of the team. And yet, strangely enough, if you take them three out of it, it's not a bad 11. So I remember saying after that, I feel like Hoftorp put a few players in. Obviously, he's forced to put certain players in, given what happened with Johnny Rowe. But I feel like he put a couple of players in to kind of go, listen, these aren't good enough. And it felt like Hanley and Gibbs were examples, Fastnack were examples of that. So, you say it can't go wrong. I'm reminded of that Mick McCarthy thing where he's like, it can't go on like this, can it, Mick? He goes, it can. And I feel like it can't go wrong on Friday night. It can. But no, actually, just to kind of counter that, I do think we, to echo the comment of putting 4 past them, we should be doing that. We should be winning this 4-0 forward.
And just while we're on you, Matty, because you put that in your title there, Emi Makonda's back. Happy to see him.
Yeah, we've missed him, haven't we, massively. It's really nice to see him back. Hopefully, he can kind of, what we now, less than a dozen games left. He can give these last 11 or so games a good run, no injuries, no suspensions. He's pivotal to how we operate offensively, but he also puts a shift in defensively as well. So yeah, huge plus having him back. Yeah,
brilliant. Right, before we move on to the February Player of the Month, then we are so close to 100 subscribers. We're, I think 20 away or so. So can you help us get there? Be absolutely massive for, we are a small fish in a massive Norwich pond, and there's lots of other good content out there, but you can help us get closer to that 100 by pressing that subscribe button. That'll be absolutely massive. Right then, February Player of the Month, or the unsung February Player of the Month. Jacob, who deserves a bit more shout out that isn't getting it?
I'm actually going to go for Antti Cernats. I think last 2 games he's shown what he can do. Hopefully he can do the same on Friday. But I think apart from Preston, he did really well getting in as an impact sub, what we've seen in the last 2. So I'm going to give it to Antti Cernats, despite Sargent's probably going to get it. He's been amazing.
Yeah, it probably will go to Sargent, won't it? But okay, Jacob, that's I didn't expect anyone to say that, to be fair. So good. Oliver?
I'm going to go Kellen Fisher, actually. I think he's kind of increased his end product definitely for that cross Sargent's goal this month. He had that chance yesterday that he missed, but I mean he's really starting to become an established championship player, and I'm really happy for him. So
okay, good stuff. Killian?
Yeah, I'd agree with Oliver. I'd go with Kellen Fisher. I think he's really grown this season, and gave that squirrel a run up the side of the wing.
Matty?
I think about this. Mahovo, I feel like he's had a lot of praise, so he's not been unsung as such. But I think Cordoba's the one I would give it to. I know he hasn't played loads in February, but the last 2 games he's come in, actually, unless it's at left back, I don't see Doyle starting now. after how well Cordoba's played, which I didn't think I would say earlier in the season. He's calm, he's assured on the ball. He sometimes takes a bit too long for my liking on the ball, but his pacing behind, his composure, brilliant yesterday, really, really good. And that's two games he's starting now on the bounce, and I'd love to see him start on Friday night. So yeah, it's only 2 games, but for me, Cordoba's made a huge difference.
All right, great shouts all around. Let us know in the comments, please, who they've missed. And finally, this week, if you've been watching us last couple of weeks, we've predicted who's going to go down. We've manifested that. We've talked about who we'd like to see in the Premier League. So this week, we're talking about the playoff final. 24th of May, the EFL have now confirmed that the playoff final will be staged at Wembley. So the question to end this week's episode is, who would we like to see in that final? So it's a hot summer's day here, Jacob. You're walking down Wembley Way with your flag and your scarf and everything. Who is on the opposite side walking towards the stadium?
I'm going to go Sunderland, actually. They've got great fans. They love a good day out at Wembley. But one team I'd like to get in there, although I don't think they will, is QPR. They've done really well to turn their season around. But I'm just going to stick with Sunderland purely because their fans love a good day out and they're probably going to win. Okay. And yeah.
Sunderland Norwich final, Oliver?
Oh, this is tricky, but wouldn't mind seeing Coventry. I'm just trying to think the most beatable team would be. But Coventry or Bristol, I think. If we got them in the playoff final, I'd fancy our chances.
Right, Killian?
I'd go Coventry. I think they're probably one of the form sides at the minute, and we've shown we can beat them late on. So I'd like to take them on again.
Now, Matty, I presume the other three wanted Norwich in the final. I'm not going to presume you want Norwich in the final, given our previous conversations. So you're allowed to pick any 2 teams you want.
Well, obviously, I'd love Norwich in the final. I'd love us to win it, and if I could pick us to play against anyone, it would be actually Blackburn, because I didn't think they offered a great deal yesterday, and I'd fancy us to beat them on a big pitch at Wembley. Who I think it would be, though, I actually think it would be 3rd and 4th. I think it would be a Burnley-Sunderland final. It could be an absolute bore fest with how Burnley play. It wouldn't surprise me if Sunderland is a better team, but Burnley win 1-0 and Scott Parker's Brexit football takes them up. So, yeah, I think it'll be 3rd v 4th, unfortunately.
Okay, all right. Let us know what you think. Thank you very much. You four will be watching on Friday night as Norwich take on Oxford. Make sure it's a good goal fest, please. We don't want any 0-0 ball draws on a Friday when they've tuned in. So catch you back next week to review it all. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop us a subscribe. Have a good week.